there are a lot of state-owned enterprises reforms which was not in the budget, but which has to implement, and that is one of the key recommendations even in the IMF governance report, because that SOE law has to go through and SOE reforms has to be done. Now, the gravity of these SOE reforms was just mentioned in, if I remember right, page number 209 in the English version of the budget document. It was in all 3 languages. And one particular state-owned enterprise reform which was mentioned in the budget was, I think, which was touched upon by a few other speakers, is recapitalization of state banks, which is about 450 billion. As you know, the devil is in the details. So when you go through it, they have specifically mentioned that the reason for the recapitalization of the 2 state banks or the banking sector is because of the debt incurred by 2 state institutes, which is equivalent to 1.8 trillion. Now, our interest payments is about 2.6 trillion, and our debt accumulated on those 2 institutes are 1.8 trillion. And President's allocation for social safety net is about 200 billion. So that means if you leave this 1.8 trillion as an equivalent of the social safety net, basically you can pay 9 years of social safety net from the debt of these 2 institutes. I just wanted to give a flavor of the gravity of this debt. So the reason that they have proposed to recapitalize these 2 banks are because most of the debt is in these 2 banks. And with the debt restructuring process with Mr. Hulangamo just spoke, when you are restructuring that debt, basically these banks are going to get a massive hit. Basically, their capital adequacy ratio will not be adequate. So because of that, they have to recapitalize the bank, which is 450 billion from the taxpayer money. Now imagine how much is 450 billion for individual citizen. That's approximately about 19,500 rupees per Sri Lankan. So if you are a household of probably 4, you are contributing about 80,000 rupees just for recapitalization of those banks, which is coming from losses of state-owned enterprises.